What's good YouTube, Ben here, welcome to the next video on the channel. In this one, I'm going to give you my next Steel Path Viable build on Warframe. This one's for Despair. Let's get into this. Hey everyone, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Thank you. Alright, so Despair is one of the Shadow Stalker's weapons, and this is actually, I believe, the first Shadow Stalker weapon I've done a build for. In fact, I'm almost certain. But Despair are throwing knives, kind of like how you get like Haiku. And they're throwing weapons, but they're a secondary, not a melee. And they're actually quite powerful for what they are for the Steel Path. But this is the build I've got. So we've got Prime Target Cracker for 110% critical damage. We've got Prime Pistol Gambit for 87% critical chance. Galvanized Crosshairs for on headshot, plus 120% critical chance when aiming for 12 seconds on headshot kill, plus 40% critical chance when aiming for 12 seconds, stacked 5 times. A Galvanized Diffusion for 110% multi-shot on kill, plus 30% multi-shot for 20 seconds, stacked 4 times. We've got Hornet Strike for 220% damage. This you could easily replace with a Bane mod if you want. I choose to use Hornet Strike because I always forget to change them when I'm going into different factions, and it always causes power loss. So you could use a Bane mod if you want. I'm keeping mine more generalized. Pistol Pestilence for 60% Toxin and 60% status chance. Frostbite for 60% cold and 6% status chance. And Lethal Torrent for 60% fire rate and 6% multi-shot. Now, I don't have anything in my Extra slot, but for an Exless mod, you could easily go ahead and put in something like Steady Hands, Pistol Ammo Mutation, Hawkeye, or one personal favorite I'd recommend is Lethal Momentum, which would increase projectile speed. But it's not necessary, as you can see, I don't need it. Plus, Secondary Merciless as well for rank 5, on kill, plus 30% damage for 4 seconds, stacks up to 12 times, and plus 30% reload speed, allowing you to just get more out faster, and to get a lot more damage, which is required for the Steel Path. Now, we've got 45.9% critical chance, 3.4 times critical multiplier, and we're running Viral as our status, because of course Viral will help slash through that health. Now, as you probably already guessed, this will have a little bit of an issue when it comes to shielded enemies, but it still works decently well, as you'll see. But, let's jump into the mission, and I will show you what this thing can do. Alright, so as per normal, I'll explain why we're here where we are. So we're at Oxymoko in the Void. Now the Void is one of the latest game areas in the Steel Path, so it gives you higher level enemies. Not to mention, you're dealing with the Corrupted, and with the Corrupted you're dealing with enemies with just health, enemies with health and high armor, and enemies with health and shields, giving you a broader example of what your weapon / Warframe can do. Also, question of the day today is, what is your favorite planet in the game? I'd say mine's probably Ceres. I do enjoy Ceres as a planet, but without further ado, let's jump in. So, we're going to start by activating Gloom, just to make things a little bit easier, I guess. And I'm going to start firing Despair off. Now, as you can see, Despair is already cutting through shields quite fast, and as soon as it gets to that health, that's it. It will dominate because of that critical chance we're putting on. So, because of the critical chance we've allowed the weapon to have, we're already cutting through these guys like butter, and apparently I can't aim today, but it's fine. Now, we're already cutting through these guys like butter. Now, as per usual, I will stay in the mission long enough to get to the Acolyte, so you can see what this can do against the Acolyte. I will tell you right now, this is not the best weapon for Acolytes, so I'd highly recommend not using it. So I will probably get absolutely destroyed by said Acolyte when I try and use this against them, but it does work well, just not well enough for an Acolyte. But it will also dictate as well, depending on how much Merciless you've got, if you land headshots. Because if you land headshots, you're pretty set against most enemies, to be honest. I cannot aim, apparently, today. I am terrible. Jesus. So, I will, like I said, stay in the mission, but I actually really like having Despair because it's a silent secondary weapon that basically acts as a throw melee, which is great for stealth missions. If you want to take this on a mission with like a Vara or Loki or something, if you're doing pure stealth on a spy, and you need to take out some enemies quickly, this weapon can do that. This weapon can more than do that. Just take that out. But because it's a throw melee, it has a lot of range on it, which is great, because you could fire this across technically an entire room. Whereas a lot of secondaries can't hit that far, or correction, they don't hit accurately that far. So like my favorite secondary weapon is Aximati Prime. Now, you could hit that across a full room, but it's not accurate across a full room, whereas these are. Because these act more like a throw melee than a secondary itself, it's really accurate if you throw them, because it'll stay in the correct arc that you throw it, which is nice. So again, if you're doing like stealth or something, it's definitely worthwhile. But as you can see, these are cutting through enemies quite well. The thing with Stalker weapons is, Stalker weapons are fine, you know, there is a few really good ones like Dread and Hate. Both of those are, I find, very good for the Steel Path. However, there are weapons of the class that are better than those. So, for example, like Dread is a bow. Me personally, even with the, because you now get the Zariman transmutation on it, thanks to the Zariman stuff, I still find that bows like Paris Prime, Mutilus Cernos, like Kuva Brahma, I still find that they outclass it because of what it can do. Don't get me wrong, Dread is a great weapon, and it is more than viable for the Steel Path, but it's not what I'd call the most ideal weapon because there are just better bows in the same class. It's the same sort of thing with Hate. There are scythe weapons, or more specifically one-handed weapons, that just do better. Which, to be fair, don't get me wrong, it's still a good weapon, and you can more than use it, but there are better weapons of the same kind of class. It's unfortunate, really. I kind of wish they'd introduce a few more really unique Stalker weapons, because if they did, you know, they would technically be the best in their class, since they would be the only ones. Not to mention, because obviously a lot of the Stalker weapons came out years ago, you know, we're already getting the Acolyte. Damn, that was fast. It's not normally this quick. Here we got Malice. Right, where is said Acolyte? They're over there. Okay, let's drag them over here, away from other enemies, because I want to try and... Ow! There we go, yeah. I figured that would happen. I figured it'd get owned by the Acolyte, to be fair. Like I said, it wouldn't have done well against it anyway. But to be fair, not every weapon could take out an Acolyte, so... It's one of those kinds of things, and I do want to quickly point out as well, whilst my builds do work on the Steel Path perfectly fine, they're not meant to get you to level 9,999 enemies. One, because most people do not have the time or patience for that. And two, realistically, if you're doing Steel Path, you want to do it for the incursions or to clear planets so you can get a bunch of Steel Essence from them. You know what I mean? Not as many people are going to want to get to level 9,999 enemies. I definitely don't, because I can't be bothered. It takes hours, and I really cannot be bothered with that. But yeah, let me know what you think about this build in the comments down below. Don't forget to support the channel further if you want to by becoming a channel member from as little as 99 pence per month here in the UK. And don't forget, I do live stream here on YouTube and at the same time on Twitch. So don't forget, if you want to catch me whilst I'm live here on YouTube, don't forget to turn on those notifications and subscribe. And if you want to watch me live stream on Twitch, if that's where you prefer to watch live streams, don't forget to follow me on there. Thank you for watching today's video. You can hit the button on the right to subscribe to the channel. You can hit the button on the left to watch the previous video. Don't forget to like and comment on this video to help boost it in the algorithm. And don't forget, you can also support me further by becoming a channel member. Thank you again, and I'll see you in the next one.